It's Judy from Artistic Artifacts in Alexandria, Virginia. I hope everybody has their beverage of choice. They said I could only have one glass of coffee today, so because I normally bounce around, so it should be a little bit calmer today. Maybe not. I wonder what everybody's doing. Have you had a good week? We have had a nutty week. Our saying at the store is Mercury is in retrograde. And I think the scientists don't have it right. I think it's in retrograde much more frequently than it is that what they claim. So anyway, but it's Saturday. We can breathe, take it easy, and I get to visit with all of you. So thank you for having me in your studio and in your home. And I enjoy it as much as hopefully you enjoy it too. So we got a little bit of a different thing going on today. Many of you might know or remember, many of you when I first started traveling, a lot of what I was doing was upcycling fabrics. It was a really long time before I added bolts of new fabric to the product line. And now we have quite a few, so it's a big change. But anyway, I started out with lots of small pieces of fabrics, exotic fabrics, odd fabrics, vintage fabrics. I would comb estate sales and find these absolutely gorgeous ball gowns and cut them apart. And we had this rounder in the store that was 3 rings of these very unusual fabrics. And it just, that's what I used. That's what I liked. And I never needed a lot. It's not, I just needed a little bit. They tell you a little bit of sparkle or a little bit of gold. Oh, it just is going to set your piece off really nicely. And I do and have done mostly art quilts, small pieces that hang on the wall, 36 by 36. So you can see this is kind of my small pieces. And as the business has grown and the fabrics that we get in are now on bolts and I can get larger pieces of fabric, my quilts have grown. So you'll see some samples that I've done. But this is one of the pieces that I started very early on. And I literally did this, I think it was at one of my first quilt retreats. And I went through everybody's scrap bags. You know those brown bags that you have attached to the table, and I grabbed, that's how I made that. Here's another one, small pieces, mighty focus. Now we've done some wool with some quilts, and you'll see as you look at some of these pieces why we've gathered these bags of miscellaneous fabrics together. Now the bags are only going to give you an idea of what you're going to get. They are not reproducible 100%. It's similar to this. So just really accept that you are going to get different sizes, different pieces, different fabrics in these bags. So our goal today is that I'm going to show you this whole section of these collections of bags one at a time so you have a really good idea on what you're going to get when you purchase these from us. Kind of like what we did with the collage packs, inspiration packs that we did with Celia last week. So these are in embellishments. If you look at the big category on the top of the website, look at embellishments and it's going to have fabric packs. We're also going to add it to fabric section of the website as well, but that's the first place to go. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you exactly what the bag is. I'm going to do a little bit of Vanda here. So this is going to be the part number, and this is the price for the bag.
And the part number is how I search for it?
Yes, the part number is how you search for it. So these are pieces of silk. There are all kinds of different silks. Some are woven, some are really light, what they call Chinese silk. All different weights. Different colors, every bag is going to look different. And oh, that feels so good.
So each bag will have different selection in the bag, but it'll be the same weight, the same
Yes.
amount of fabric.
Yes, we weigh them, and you'll see some similarities and some differences. So yes, they're all about the same. So the value is the same. The fabric you're receiving, it just the colors and the patterns might be a little bit different. Good questions. And as if you look at some of these, see a lot of these pieces are small and they're just kind of, that's how you layer and that's how you get some depth to the work that you're doing. See, this is more flat, but this is more layers. We have quilting, this, and these packs are a really easy way to do that. So this is a new pack. So here we go. That's our part number and that's our price. These pieces are going to be a little bit larger. So with the advent of COVID, what I've really needed to do is I've taken my rack of all these different pieces of fabrics and I've packaged them to make it a little bit easier for you to purchase. But as you see, some of it is different patterns. These are kind of a little more jacquards. Some are rayon. There's probably a couple of silks in there. I know that's a silk as well. So this pack has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So about 10 pieces are what's going to be in this pack. And I definitely comb thrift stores and estate sales for what I felt are really unusual, beautiful fabrics. This one is also a new package, and this is definitely from clothing that I got in an estate sale. So there's some pieces, some are smaller. This is, I had never seen this. I don't know what era this is in, but this estate sale had a lot of this type of fabric, which I just think is absolutely amazing. But these are pieces of garments that I've cut up. It's another. In Washington, D.C., we have a lot of, it's a large area for State Department. So people have traveled. They've, wore ball gowns and all this kinds of stuff. So I can generally get some very, very unusual textiles when I'm shopping in the area. But these are fabrics, I want to say, I just have no idea what era they're from. If anybody knows what era, was it 1950s? Was it the 60s? I don't know, but I just love it. It's just so cool. And you can see the sizes vary depending on what we had. So that's that one. All right, Chris is the cameraman and the organizer, so you're gonna see a little movement there. This one, do not have very many bags of this. I think I have maybe 6. So don't wait if it's something that you want. So I consider these wovens. So, and you can see again, it was some garments that had been cut apart, but cotton, kind of that hand woven look. Could be little tiny pieces, it could be larger pieces. But this is all cotton. Some ikat, kind of reminds me a little more of Guatemalan woven fabrics. But as I said, I don't have many of these bags. Here's a part number for these. Now, if some of you remember, we have gotten these batiks from Thailand. So we usually get them in about 5 meters. And they're fabulous at 5 meters long to be able to make clothing, but this one gives you a little bit smaller pieces. So we cut up each of the colors so that you would have a little bit of each color rather than having to buy the whole 5 meters. And it's about this size. And these are nice hand wovens Thailand, and this is all a batik. They have these great, they do batik with wood blocks and rather than copper. These are very, very unique. They are Thai silk that have all been made into small, tiny yo-yos. So the pack is going to be different. The fabric's different. But these were all made in Thailand. These are from African garments that were created, and they have just an amazing color and texture for these laces. When you see these beautiful African garments in these fashion shows and on the women walking, you just can, oh, it's just so amazing. It's a little bit of white too. So each bag, again, you could have small pieces, you could have larger pieces. This is a pretty good size. It's machine embroidered, it's very sturdy. I would say that it's probably a polyester. It's a man-made thread. Just look at these. I mean, it's just, they're gorgeous. A little bit of here. But we were very, very lucky. This is dressmakers cutting scraps. And a little goes a long way. Can you just see that one motif? I could just use that. It's one in a garden and cut these pieces together out, and we have flowers. So there's a lot of opportunity for some creativity with these. We have quite a lot of these packs. This is saree type fabrics. And we have started out cutting sarees up. So these are definitely sarees. And then this piece is absolutely to die for. And then we found some shears, so we added some shears to it, pieces of silk. But these are all sarees, different pieces. I would not say that they're all silk. I think that there definitely can be a mixture. There is a little bit of silk in here, but I would say most of it is synthetic. When I was in India, I purchased some metallic sarees. So they're vintage, they're woven with metallic threads, and I am waiting for the remainder of that shipment to come, and what we'll do is we're going to sell those by the piece. In India, those sarees that are woven with fabrics, I think they're 5 meters long, but I mean they're several $100s to buy them, but they're absolutely incredible. Again, I think a little piece for us is better, so look forward to that. That'll be in the next month. Another pack that's been around for a while is our rust packs. Here it is. These are pieces that I rust in at home, and it can be anything. These packs are going to be a little similar. But as you know, rust will affect any fabric. It does not have to be cotton. And these are trims that are synthetic. Here. And I did work with this. You do, obviously, we can't shut down the process of rusting, I wash it, I put some anti-chlor in it, which is really a bleaching process, but you do have to watch this fabric when you work with it. I submitted a piece to Sacred Threads the last time the show was, and it was using a lot of the rusted fabrics. I mean, big pieces. So what I did was I took Misty Fuse, put Misty Fuse on the back of the fabric and fused it to a piece of muslin, so that I was hoping to slow down the corrosion of the fabric and to be able to hold the piece together, because it's actually quite large for me. 42 by 36, something like that. It was very large. I actually had to assemble it in two pieces. But I wanted to use the rust. It was really a big part of what the piece was. So that's what I did. So I took it, and anytime you have a fragile substance, a lot of time it's silk, or sometimes it's an old piece that means something to you that you want to work with, I would always fuse it to another piece of muslin before I would incorporate it into my piece. And definitely need to do that with the rust. So Misty Fuse is a very, very lightweight fusible that is not a paper-backed fusible. And it's, again, one of my tools I think everybody should have in their studio. All right, this one we'll take different forms over different times. So we kind of call these creams or light colors, and as you can see,
is that a 14?
That's a 1450. And these are silks. So they're lighter color silks. They're different types of woven. Here, this is pleated. This is, you can tell it's another silk jacket. Piece of silk here. Again, not really big pieces, but you know, you can be some small ones. And this one is definitely done by weight, as all of them are. And we kind of, as I said, we use the term creams a little loosely. We went for a lot of light colors and pastel colors. There's a little bit of raw silk. We've had this pack for a while, a number of years.
Do those dye?
Yes, you can dye them. Another pack that we've had for quite a while. How much of this really shiny product? I only need a little bit. This stuff is going to sew really nicely because it's got some backing to it, and then it's got the metallic on there. It does have some stretch to it. You want to be a little bit careful. So we call this the Shiny Mermaid pack because, of course, mermaids always need some sequin fabric. There, a little bit. So this is definitely a very, very shiny. So it tells you it stabilizes it, makes it easier to sew. Pieces are, you know, there are different size pieces depending on the original fabric that we had. But this is definitely the Mermaid pack. Different weights. This pack has been around for a long time. Again, I don't have too much of this left. I took a class a long time ago with Laura, and we were working with shears. So these are polyester. They are they are synthetics, and there's different weights of them. But when we were working with a piece that I worked with Laura a long time ago, we were using these with matte medium. So we were creating kind of a layer where you were stiffening this, and it could become a book page, it could become a backing. So there was just when you thought it was safe to get rid of the polyester shears. And again, we're using that term loosely. Shears are, some are sheer, some are more sheer. So this is just this is a very early pack. I only have a couple, I think I have 2 or 3 of these packs left. So, but using these kind of synthetics with mixed media materials can add a very different feel to them. Velvets. This, we've just been able to reactivate the velvets, and these are new, old, vintage, retro, collars, cuffs. You're not sure. Every package is going to be a surprise. So you can see the different sizes here, different colors. Oh, I really like this piece. I know, it's already packed. I can't have it back. So these are all these velvet pieces. This is even velvet. Is this not a riot?
Oh my God.
I know.
Awesome.
I want yardage. We obviously didn't have yardage.
Wonder what that was.
So, a little bit. So anyway,
Fur.
different stuff. This is very fun. Again, a little goes a long way. You crazy quilters out there, boy, this is a great stash for those. Anybody who wants to do some crazy quilting, wonderful, wonderful stash. And pieces that will just give you some nice bright colors, as well as interesting textures for crazy quilting. Or dimension in your piece if you're working there. So that's good. Now, if you want bigger pieces, somebody tied a knot in it, which is what they're supposed to do, but it makes it hard to get it out. Okay, here it comes. All right. So this is kind of similar, but they're larger pieces. Okay, not every piece is going to be this size. Oops, there's the back, there's the front, but it's going to be close to this size. And all the packs have different colors in them based on, again, when we had yardage and when we didn't. So this is, I don't know, I think it's a lot of fun keeping this stuff out of the landfill. So it gives us some really great creative pieces to use. This is a bag that was made by a friend of mine, but if you look at it, she did it all with hand dyes that we made in a collage pack. But you could apply this concept to any of these packages, really. So these are just smaller cuts that assembled into the big pattern piece. And these are all things that could be done, and then you use a little bit bigger piece to line it. And I think she just made the pattern up and did a basic lined bag. But I think these velvet bundles are just a secret that needs to be promoted and explored. I just think there's so much. And some of them are knit, some of them are cotton, some are synthetic. It's all different types of materials. We can't always tell you what that is, but we know that it is velvet. All right, so we have almost finished the table. Now there's more. Are there any questions at this point about the products and how I'm using them and how they're packaged, how we create them? Okay, oohs and ahs are good. Oohs and ahs are great. I was very lucky to know a woman who has since passed away, and she collected amazing Japanese fabrics, absolutely amazing. So again, as I told you, I'm not afraid of going to an estate sale, going to homes in the area where these collections occur, because I want to save them. Sometimes the family doesn't know where it's not of value to them. So we kind of consider ourselves a connector between the people who maybe don't know and the people who do know and want to use them. So recently we acquired the Japanese, and we were able to make some packages up. So let's see, this one is 527. Okay. So these are pieces. So Deconstructed Kimonos, they're really quite interesting. If you ever look at a kimono, it's not like our clothing. They use the whole piece and then they fold it, and very little is ever trimmed. So these are all pieces that were from Deconstructed Kimonos, and these are silkscreen pieces. So they're printed. Sometimes they're hand silk screened, sometimes they're machine printed, depending on the era. But we have tried to assemble an assortment of fabrics. Yeah, I know. It's like, this, and these, so that pack will there. Then we have a different pack that is more ikat. So let me just show you the difference in here. So these are woven. They're called ikats, and they have a woven pattern versus a printed pattern. So you can see this is all in the construction of the fabric. This is pretty fantastic. Now we also have larger pieces on the website that are kind of a grouping, that if you want this size and it's ikat, you get one piece, we choose it for you. And it's, I think, $23 to $25. Then the other thing is we've done it also with printed. So it's a little bit bigger piece and it's a single piece. But we give you an idea of what the options are on the website. So you will get sent, but we say that to you. We're going to pick your piece for you. And they all come from this absolutely fabulous collection. So those are two of the larger bags. Then to go to the next piece, these are cut pieces. So again, they're going to be small, great sizes, strips. You know, you have a little bit of ikat in there, you have a little bit of print. Fabulous little, some shibori, different colors. Here. So this pack is all Japanese fabric. Oops. And it is this price, that part number, and this price. Five minutes. Uh-oh. I have to talk faster. Okay. All right, these packs, I have just marked these from $15 to $9.99. These started out as our Boro packs, always only Japanese. Then we moved into the $18 pack. And so what we've done is these are small pieces, great for Boro, and there's different part numbers depending on the color. I don't know if we have them matched up. Okay. So, and I just marked these down to $9.99. They have some Japanese in, they have some Japanese-like fabric in. This one has some silks in here and some natural, some Japanese. So everyone has changed, this has changed over time. Some Japanese feel fabric. It's really hard to find the Japanese look fabric. Who was that did the metallics on the fabrics? Kona Bay? Was a big Japanese company, and it's really hard to find that type of fabric, so we've tried to include it when we have been able to. All right. This is a new bag. So 94869. Okay, so there's the part number. It's $29, and look at the size of this bag. All right, this is definitely a collage person's dream. We've done a lot of needle felting here. We do that with the Bernina machines are able to. We have individual people who have machines. So this has been, I recently took my studio apart, and so you are getting the benefit of all of my collage that I've been willing to give up. So there's some silk, there's some yarn, there's some fleece, there's pieces of wool sweaters. This was a jacket I thought was pretty cool piece. You know, you go there, lots and lots of samples. Little pieces of silk, little pieces of velvet. So this one is definitely a dream. There's so much in here, there's so much potential just with all these different materials. And you know, you can stitch over this stuff. This is all, it all works if you use your sewing machine rather than a needle felting machine. You can have hand needles and all that type of stuff. So there's just so much in these bags. You cannot even imagine. Lots of yarn. So these are definitely pieces that I love. So there's a piece here with the flower that was done with needle felting, but could very easily be done just with a sewing machine and some stitching. So these are cottons, and these are all wools and yarns and beads and things. All right, this pack we've had for a little while, and what this is a little bit bigger pieces, and it's all wool. It's been washed, so it's been fulled. You don't have to worry about that. We do that before it's cut. And it adds some real spice to your wool applique. And again, every pack will change. It will all be different. But you'll have about the same number of pieces.
It's 10 o'clock.
Okay, but wait. Here, I have a mask. Okay, we're throwing masks. Okay, sorry. All right, this is piece here. So when we cut our bolts, we cut half yards and up. Well, we always have pieces left. And we put 2 yards of fabric together in a pack. And it can be any type of fabric, and it can be this wide. It can be 17 inches wide, not 18, or it could be 2 inches wide. So these packs are absolutely amazing to be able to get. And they're all kind of color coordinated. They're $18. It's a great way. Laura Heine patterns, again, scrappy quilts, wonderful ways to work.
And all the fabrics are the width of the fabric?
Yes.
So
it's not, I think we have a little bit left that might be smaller, but it's 2 yards based on 44 inches wide.
yeah.
So these are, again, I love scrappy quilts. So this is a bag of batiks. And again, it can be different sizes, it can be old, it can be new. They're all nice, clean fabrics. They just might not be current. Where's my card? So 558408. This is $15.99 for this big, huge bag. I don't think I had a card, or else I lost my card. So this is, could be batiks, could be cottons, but they're small pieces. So we can't use them in the 2 yard packs. So we put them in another one. And this is the beginning of Stitch Meditations. So our wonderful friend Liz Kettle has started Stitch Meditations. And why we call these the beginning of Stitch Meditations is because we've given you flannels in here. We've given you strips of fabric. We've given you small pieces. We have some jelly plate prints, some woodblock prints. So there's just a little bit of miscellaneous different types of fabrics in here as well. That was just, we think, is a great start. There's some silk. It's a great start for stitch meditations. Little pieces, little tiny scraps of pieces. Again, everything we use, we keep out of the landfill and gives you, you know, a challenge and creativity in how to use it. We also have a little bit of an insert that's going to point you to Liz Kettle's video about doing stitch meditations and how that came about for her. And it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. So add some thread, add some needles, and you're ready to rock and roll with stitch meditations.
And those are,
Okay. Okay. New packs. This is a new pack. This is vintage fabrics. Could, again, all kinds of different, you know, vintage is a loose term nowadays, could be different pieces. I love, love, love vintage. So it's based on weight, and all of the packs are going to be different, but it's going to give you an idea. Now, if you want bigger pieces, see they, oops, my demo, of vintage. So my grandmother sewed clothing. We have some of this fabric is hers and some of it's not. So these are about half-yard pieces. And again, the widths could be different depending on when they were printed. And they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces for $29. And again, all of these fabrics can be different from post to post. And if you want to order more than one arrangement, that's okay. You can also email us and say, you know, see if you can change up the colors a little bit for me, or I want them, you know, see if you can find more blues. We can't do that on a day in and day out basis. You have to trust us to pick stuff for you, but sometimes we have that ability. And let's see what else. Oh, this one I think is, again, a great opportunity for some mixed media. This is leather. We have lots of leather. Suede, regular. And this pack is only $8. I just think there's so much that could be done with these pieces. If you look at how we did our frozen Charlotte, or a picture here, that these leather pieces could really add some substance to your piece as a layering. And then the other thing we have is scrap bags for ultra suede. And these are definitely scrap bags. Totally scraps.
and they're $6.
There are $6, yes. This bag I want to show you. This is in there as linen pieces and scraps. Now, these are not whole doilies. They're not whole linens. They are cut pieces. The doily could be in half. It could be ripped. And of course, this bag doesn't have that. Okay, yeah, see here we can cut it. These are not whole pieces of linens. These are scrap pieces. That is, I want to be really clear about that. Some damask, some cotton,
Great
some
for dyeing.
Absolutely great for dyeing. Machine stitched. You know, all these pieces here. You know, a lot of these things that had the old patterns on them are great pieces of linen that can be used. And again, linen I would back with Misty Fuse and put it on a muslin piece to stabilize it. So I have a couple more, but that's okay. We need to we need to sign off. So I hope this has been helpful for you. We do spend time kind of reworking some packages and giving you some ideas on different types of materials to use in your creativity. It's not just about cotton, quilting cotton. There's lots of other things out there. So we challenge you to try a surprise pack, because all of them are surprise packs, and see what you come up with, and post your ideas and processes, finished things on Artistic Artifacts Creative Minds Facebook page. We love to see what you're doing. There is shopping online, artisticartifacts.com. We do have the Facebook page because, of course, you are there watching me now. And we're active on Instagram as well as YouTube. And we look forward to seeing you next Saturday at 9:30. Thank you.